Hello, I'm Eagle, Eagle Gardens 1 on Instagram, and this is fucking Talking Shit with Eagle, episode 302. Boy, do I got an amazing episode for you guys tonight. Somebody that you know and respect highly in the community, Mr. BrownGuy420. You want to tell us how you're doing tonight and where we can find you? And thank you for coming, by the way, and hanging out with us. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for the invitation on the show. I'm trying to get onto these shows a little bit more. It's just been a while since I've been on them, so sorry if I'm a little, new to being talking and all that kind of stuff again. Yeah, I'm still out here in Southern Oregon, still doing my thing. Been mainly pushing my Instagram channels and everything like that. BrownGuy420. Kind of starting up the YouTube again after it got shut down. And that's under my actual personal name, Paul Rosas. I went from teaching no-till organics to now I'm running my own lab, Solo Scientific, which is fun. It's keeping things interesting, in the industry. I've been in it so long. It's just like I got to move around to keep the passion going, And the no-till is great. I still grow no-till gardens, no-till cannabis, no-till everything. I just don't smoke anymore because my asthma is completely horrible. But my love for the plant, love for cannabinoids, love for finding out what every cannabinoid can do is pretty much a life passion of mine. I'll probably die doing this.
Nice. Well, I appreciate your passion for this plant, for sure. And just because you haven't been necessarily involved in the YouTube community, no way have you been forgotten, good sir. We all remember all the knowledge you have put forth over the years, and thank you for it. It's kind of funny, you mentioned the no-till revolution, as it were once known. It's funny because it's no longer even a revolution at this point. It's just what it is. Yeah. And it's couldn't be a better time for Brown Guy. Well, it's got 4,200 now. Doesn't it suck when you have to adjust that name a little bit? But couldn't be any better time for you to reemerge, because you're right, man. Organics, the no-till, everybody's hungry. Everybody's hungry for that type of knowledge. So, and you're one of the great guys for that type of knowledge. So, we'd be looking forward to any kind of videos and knowledge you're putting forward. The community has done nothing but grown with recreation. It's people are growing left and right. So now more than ever, people are taking on growing, and then it's not even like they're taking on growing, but they've skipped the bullshit. You know what I mean? The revolution is over, so they don't even want to fuck around with salts anymore. They want to start right off with the organics. So welcome back.
I'm completely just it's awesome that people have taken what I was teaching out there, and I was just putting that information out there in the first place just to kind of document my journey through YouTube, but also back when I first started growing, there was no such thing as the internet. So the closest thing to anything that was anything growing was a High Times magazine. So and then I had a couple people I knew that would grow, and you'd be like, hey, show me how to grow, and they'd be like, well, no, because that means I'm showing you how to be my competition or something, and I was always like, well, I'm not trying to grow to be out there selling like crazy. Like, I'm going to grow it for myself. I want to just smoke what I grow. And so I over the years, I started with hydro. I started with all the crazy stuff that everybody throws at you, general hydroponics, what else? It's hard to remember all the other names of them, advanced nutrients and stuff like that. All these things that people say you need to grow. You need that 17-part program and all these things to be a master grower or whatever. And it wasn't until, once I learned, I was teaching people on YouTube how to grow with all these other things. But then I started, turning the bottle around and trying to figure out what exactly the ingredients were on the back. It's just like anything, a bottle of water or anything you're looking at, you want to look what's on the back. And so I started researching what that stuff was. And I was like, oh, okay, this is, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, all that good stuff. And I was trying to figure out what it was that the plant actually needed. And I was also doing cost analysis of, how much am I actually putting into growing this plant compared to what I'm getting out of it? And was it worth it, or should I just go buy a bag of weed from the guy who's selling it down the street or something? And at that point is when I started turning towards organics. The salts were fine. I mean, people grow amazing flower with salts or hydroponics or whatever, but it was lacking the flavor and the taste. I was using things, bug candy or something, and I was using this thing. It was supposed to enhance the flavor of your flower, so I'm adding all this bug candy in, and I had like 6 different strains growing, and I realized when I harvested, all 6 strains pretty much tasted like bug candy. And I was like, well, it tastes good, but I kind of like added this artificial flavor into it, and my sour diesel is tasting like bug candy. My lemon kush tastes like bug candy. So I'm like, I should just call it all bug candy because it's all the same thing. There was nothing that made it unique. And then, I started digging around with organics, playing around with it, and then, pretty much fell upon Subcool's super soil, and I fell in love with the idea. His super soil was amazing, and you can just mix everything up. You have a hot layer, a normal layer. You just add water, and if anything, I think with Subcool at the beginning of it, he was if you're running out of nutrients at the end, he was adding like a botanic care or something like that, bloom, grow, whatever. And I kind of liked his whole regimen, but once I moved to growing outdoor, it wasn't really cost effective. I mean, outdoor you're going to grow more than what you paid in the soil, but at the same time, when you're paying like $500 for a yard of soil, and you gotta you're growing on with 20 yards of soil, regardless of when I got into recreational cannabis, I was buying 650 yards of soil. So at that point, with even 20 yards of soil, I was like, it's just too much. Thousands and thousands of dollars was going to go into building the super soil. So then at that point, I knew that organics gave me, at that point of growing with Subcool, it opened my eyes to flavor, taste, and smoothness of organics. That's like now sour diesel tastes like sour diesel. Now lemon kush tastes like lemon kush. Train wreck. Like it all had its own unique flavors, aromas, all that stuff. But with the expense of the super soil, I had to figure something out. So I kind of dissected what was in the super soil and kind of like, said what do I really need and what do I not, need at the moment. And I started reading a book by Jeff Lowenfels, and it's called Teaming with Microbes. And he's a PhD scientist, pretty much like a soil biologist, I guess you'd say. And he broke it down, but he broke down how soil works in layman's terms so that anyone can pretty much understand it. And it just lit a fire in me for, my whole life now. I mean, that's the only way I believe in growing anything, down to my vegetables, corn, anything. I mean, if your fruit tree out in the front isn't doing good, resort to no-till style organics and it'll come right back, and so at that point I started building soil and getting rid of all the stuff that people say you had to do. And it started dramatically saving my costs in growing my cannabis, which to me meant everything, because if I have low costs and I grow a lot of cannabis and I'm growing it on a dime, that's everything to anyone. If you're growing 4 plants in your backyard, if you're growing on a farm, whatever, I mean, like when I had my recreational farm, 650 yards like of dirt, even with my no-till, you know, it's a constantly like evolving process, figuring out your soil. And they wanted like $100,000 for my blend for 650 yards. I mean, that's a lot of dang dirt. It's a small mountain of dirt, but I was like, wow, that's still a lot. You know, someone who works, who's always worked, you know, at least 40, if not 50 or 60 hours a week. I've never had the money to throw down like that. So even though I had investors, I was like, no, I feel really bad if I'm going to spend $100,000 on soil. So I went back to my no-till and was like, well, what do I not need? And I said to the guys, like, what about worm castings? What if I took that out? What does that do for me? Cut it in half right there. And it was $50,000. And I was like, wow, 50 grand for 650 yards is actually a good deal. That's really cheap soil, because the worms are going to give you the worm castings. So I spent some money, I cut like $1,000 in worms, and just kind of Johnny Appleseeded those things all over the place. And, you know, and then the worms made their own castings, and they're better castings anyways. They're not sterilized and pretty much only for nitrogen. These are biologically active, you know, worm castings. And over the years, I've just kind of figured out what's cheap, what grows great, high quality cannabis, but saves your pocketbook, because, you know, we're not all made of money. So, yeah, it worked out. Sure. I mean, I love no-till.
Well, how could you not? I mean, it's one of those things too that I've noticed. And like you said, once it enters your life, it kind of changes your life. And I've seen that across the board for almost every grower that I've seen. Once the organics comes in, it has not only just changed their garden a little bit, it's changed the way they're eating and the way they just kind of view their footprint as a whole. You know, as far as sustainability. It's a pretty powerful thing.
And that's true. You know, it's you know, I guess when we're younger, we're dumber. You know, we go and eat at McDonald's and Burger King and Taco Bell, and we just feed ourselves with all this nasty food that's not good for us. And, you know, when I got into my 30s, I was starting to have gut issues, and you know, I was going to a gastrologist, and we were trying to figure out, like, there's something I was eating that was really causing me to be in a lot of pain in my stomach. And they were like giving me something and telling me to report to them the next day to see what was going on. And at that point in my life, I was growing no-till organic cannabis, and I said, you know, why don't I get away from processed food, stop eating at these fast food places and everything, and how about I start growing my own no-till organic garden, vegetable gardens, you know? And I'm turning different crops at different times of the season, and I started eating healthier, making sure that, like, I was getting my beef, no hormones, grass-fed beef, you know, no hormones on my chicken, organic chicken, you know, all this, making sure that I was paying attention to what I was doing and putting inside of my body on top of the cannabis. And without even, like, I stopped going to the gastrologist and everything, and I completely cured all of my ailments just by going to natural food, you know. And somebody once had said to me a long time ago, and it made sense further down the road as I got into the no-till essence and the organic foods and everything, and cannabis, whatever. But he said, you know, your great grandparents that were on a 50-acre farm and raised cattle and had a garden, you know, they weren't plagued with cancer and all these other diseases that are plaguing everybody nowadays. And it made a lot of sense after I changed the way my body felt by eating organics and eating healthier and eating better stuff. And with the world and the way we are, everything is on making money and capitalizing on something. And I had a series on my old YouTube channel that was called Breaking the Bond, or breaking the bond from bottles, or something like that. And because like if you get a, let's say, you go to your local Grange or drugstore or whatever, and you get something in a bottle that it says it's organic or it's Armory certified or whatever. It's not fully organic. For one, I think it's only got to be somewhere like around 70% organic, and the other 30% can be unorganic and still constitutes as organic. But anything that comes in a bottle is what goes through a process that's called chelation, and chelation is like kind of like breaking down natural organics to make it more readily available. So like instead of being non-plant available, it's very plant available, and you're kind of beefing up your plant. It's growing bigger, stronger, everything, but at that same point, giving the plant something that is quote unquote organic, and you just keep feeding it to it, it makes it bigger and bigger and bigger, doesn't make it better. It's the same thing why obesity is big in America. People are just feeding their faces. It's readily available. It's good, right? It should be good for me, but it's not necessarily. Like you can eat and eat and eat, and what do? You get bigger and bigger and bigger, right? But is that a good thing? No. So what I found is like it's about the quality. You grow your plant really big, it's great. You have lots of buds, but if you grow it decently sized and let the plant take what it needs, its immune system's better. You're going to break away from things like pests and stuff, and your buds have higher quality. You get a better high off of them. And so when I saw these organic bottles, like I had to get away from it. And through that Jeff Lowenfeld book, Teaming with Microbes, you learn how the bacterias work. And so as long as you put 5 to 10% organic matter top dressed on top of your plant, which at first I was throwing I use a company called BioLive, or Down to Earth, and they make a product called BioLive, and it's feather meals, alfalfas, kelp, I think it's like some bone meal and stuff, and I would throw that on there because what it is organic matter, and plus the worms will eat it and grind it down and let it be more available within the soil. But it's what the basis of no-till organics is to let the plant eat when it wants to eat. Because with chelation and in these quote unquote organic bottled nutrients, people are wondering why there's heavy metals in all their flour and their concentrates and all these other things, which is becoming a big thing now. Everyone's wanting to test to make sure it gets out of it, is because through the way of chelation, you're just letting the plant take in everything, and it's building up on iron and coppers and zincs and all this other stuff that's not good for you. And if you concentrate it, you're taking in concentrated amounts of these heavy metals. Just like back in the day, we figured out that pesticides, which aren't good anyways, but what was a reasonable amount on the plant concentrated into your concentrates and became very bad for you. So through chelation, you're giving that plant, you're giving it, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, the things it wants, but you're also giving it all the things that it's like overdosing on it. And therefore you have organic flour, but it has a lot of heavy metals stuck in it. Where if you just add organic, non-plant available organic matter to the top of your soil, let the worms be like the grinders. They'll just pulverize it, eat it, and then excrete it back into the soil. You have iron, you have zinc, you got copper, you got all that stuff in your soil, but it's not readily available to your plant. So through things like mycorrhiza and stuff, you got this fungi population that'll sit there like little tiny miners, and they barely chip away at these heavy metal minerals that the plant does need, but it's in such minute amounts that the plant will thrive off of it, and you have very little heavy metals to the point where you can get it all the way down to a concentrate and still be looking very good on heavy metals. So, the organic world is it's a lot, it's a lot bigger than what we think, and there's a lot of still, like I said, with the creation of man, we always want to meddle with everything, and part of what I always tried to do with YouTube was blow all these like stipulations out. You have to use this, you got to use that, you have to do NPK, and I try to just say, grow your soil and you can grow anything you want in the soil. Healthy soil will save the earth. Healthy soil will do a lot. Healthy soil will clean up the earth. It's a lot of people, they don't want to tell you is that, yeah, the earth, global warming, this, that, whatever, cars and overpopulation of cows and all this stuff. Well, I've been to so many soil exposiums or whatever you want to call them that, a lot of things that they don't want to tell you is that like 70% of it is from agriculture. All these nutrients get fed to your plants, and corn and whatever, beets and all this stuff that we get at the grocery store. And whatever those plants don't get just ends up in your local tributaries and, off to the ocean and off gases out and depletes carbon. And, it's just, if we don't clean up our agriculture, that's what's really doing a lot of our, bad things to the earth, I guess you would say. And it's really what's driven me on pushing the word of growing correctly. We're all probably familiar with the Dust Bowl of Middle America. There was some of the best farmland, and farmers destroyed it. And now they're getting people like no-till people who understand bacteria and everything and how to revitalize dead soil and making it healthy soil again so they can keep growing on this dead land. And people don't lose their generational farms and stuff like that.
Well, it's a good time to get that message across too, because it's coming. You talk about the breadbasket there. It's Oklahoma and all of them. It's coming. The breadbasket's gonna be not so bready anymore. I think it's gonna be all cannabis. I think a lot of that stuff's gonna be uprooted, and which in a way may help repair that soil. That cannabis is known for help cleaning it up. So with proper technique and maybe some cannabis remediating the soil a little bit, maybe we can undo what we've done for 100+ years now to the soil.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of growing going on right now, especially here in Oregon. It's I think we're one of the first states to kind of get overwhelmed with people coming from every point in the world, like just following the green rush and all that. And I think there's going to be still a lot of growing going on within our country for sure, especially as THC cannabis becomes federally legalized. Once you're able to cross borders with it, there's going to be that's going to be the new revolution, but then there's going to be a point where, so like with Oregon, even with THC cannabis, it was like so many people were here that the supply was here, the demand was here, and so we had so much flower and concentrates and everything that it kind of overwhelmed the market, and it was part of what like kind of collapsed the farm I was at. There was so much THC flower that at that point, flower was going for so cheap, nobody cared if it was the best indoor you could ever see. They didn't care how it could have been the most organic flower there is. It could have been glowing, gold and all this stuff, and nobody cared. You know, all the dispensaries, everybody that was out there only wanted $150 pounds. You know, they were all just going to grind it up and throw it in a pre-roll, and people can go out there and buy, you know, $60 ounces, and everyone's just going to get high and have a good old time. But what that did is it kind of destroyed the industry in Oregon. And over the years, that supply has been kind of slowly going down because, for one, it can't leave the state. And so these people that have recreational farms have had to kind of slowly figure out how to downsize so they can supply just the state itself. You know, before legalization, people around the country were getting flower from Oregon because everyone, you know, Oregon is right above the Emerald Triangle. I call it the Green Mile. And it's like we're known for our sun-grown cannabis, you know, really good stuff. And you know, now that a lot of us had went to legalization because, you know, we just wanted to be legal and, you know, be able to go home and not look out the window and see if we were going to get busted or not. You know, it was a whole new era of trying to figure out how to grow, but also, you know, back in the black market days, it was like, oh, I'm going to build a greenhouse. Okay, cool. Let's build a greenhouse. Or I'm going to build a building on my lot because I'm out in the middle of nowhere and who cares? Well, then you go into recreational and it's like, oh, I have to have a permit for that? You know, oh, engineers, you know, like architects. What is all this stuff, you know? And so as everyone jumped into it, a lot of people got shut down because they weren't doing things legally. And then you got the people coming from out of state that know permits and all this stuff. So it really started this bad sour taste in Oregonians' mouths with these other people who were coming in. They were more business like, where all of us just knew grow cannabis and makes money and we get to smoke. And so there was a big transition. And but you know, in the end of it all, now Oregon is leveled out with its supply and demand, and the prices of flower are going up. Whereas the people that came in here and invested millions of dollars have all pretty much went belly up and they're gone. They're in other states now trying to follow the green rush or whatever you might want to call it. And the people that are still here with companies that are successful are the old school people because they have the passion. They want to grow still. They don't want to go work a 9 to 5. They want to be a farmer because that's what we do. And when people saw there was no more money in it, they all left. Whereas all of us just said we love the plant. I don't care that there's no money in it. I just want to keep doing what I've always done all my life, you know. And you know, with the, you know, I guess you would call it the failure of my OLCC or my recreational farm. You know, because the investors I had completely screwed me out of all of it. I ended up leaving for a while. I left the country. I know some people that follow me saw that I went down to South America, and I helped them with their cannabis situation down there for a while. But I got out of the country mainly because my investors tried to tell me that you know, they gave me a 23-page contract to sign, and inside that contract, somehow weird words and all that stuff was some sort of like no compete, which meant that I couldn't work in cannabis for 3 years, according to their lawyer, which didn't stand up in court anyways, because you're not writing sensitive code for Microsoft, you're just farming. So it wasn't that big of a deal. But I was being harassed by their lawyers and stuff. And so I just wanted to get out, and I got an invitation from President of Paraguay and Ambassador of Brazil to go out there and, you know, check out their cannabis situation. So I was like, you know, it's a good time to get out for a while. And I went down there, and it was a culture shock. You know, we're very spoiled in America, and down there, they're very close to the land. They're very organic. They don't want to ruin their land. Very caring, sensitive, humble people. You know, the country of Paraguay was once a very poverty-stricken country. It's very small, and they decided to make a hydroelectric dam on the Paraguay River, and now they're the largest clean energy producer in the world. And so it's like a Hoover Dam on steroids. And so now their country's producing electricity for Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay and Paraguay. And so they're being flooded with all this money. They don't know what to do with it. So it's like in America, it's like 5-star hotels and restaurants and stuff. Out there, it's like 7 to 10 star. It's amazing. But the best thing that I saw in a different country was that these people they didn't care about the money. They didn't care about having a nice car or a big house. They were all about quality of life. I mean, these people work 4 hours a day. They're not trying to work 15-hour shifts. They just wanted to have good food, good friends, good family, good times, The richest guy out there that owns the biggest skyscraper will still invite you into his home, give you a bed to sleep in, and cook you dinner. Same thing with the person that's in an adobe hut out there. They'll bring you in, they'll cook you whatever they got, they'll give you a spot on the floor. And it was really eye-opening to me. And it was just a whole new side of cannabis, because with us, we have everything readily at our fingertips. Oh, I need this. Oh, I'll just go down to the store and pick it up. Where with them, everything's an import. So you're like, oh, well, you guys don't have alfalfa? And they're like, oh, that's really expensive. And you're like, alfalfa? So it was really, it was a way of relearning no-till by what they had, So I also like, those things like bugle culture and stuff like that. And so you're working with like inputs that you got from the jungle. So it was really, I don't know what you want to say, educational, mind expanding, just the whole situation that I was in. It was really cool. And then when I came back to the US, because they ran into some legal stuff that they had to deal with, and I didn't want to sit down there for months on end and not do anything. I came back up here, and the hemp industry was just exploded. It was like year one on hemp, and I had some friends that said, "Why don't you should come with us?" And I think at that time it was like 150 acres of hemp, and it looks identical to cannabis. And I was just like, "Sure, this is absolutely amazing." I mean, I went out there and I'm walking through the fields of all these plants, and it was like, what I grew up looking at in High Times magazines, these vast fields of plants. And it, to me, I looked at it as, I started all this by, in my life by growing one plant in a closet, and you were like, oh man, this is so crazy, like you can get in trouble for this. And then, you're like, well, I haven't gotten in trouble. I'm going to grow 4 plants in my closet. And then eventually you have your own little grow spot and you're growing 15 or 20 plants. And then it built into like, when things went recreational, everyone's like, do you think you can grow 1,000, 1,500 plants on an acre? And I'm like, I don't know. You grow 4, you can grow 10. If you can grow 10, you can do 100, right? And if you grow 100, you can grow 1,000. Like, it's just more work. You got to be out there longer. And so for me, it was a challenge. And then when hemp came, I'm like 150 acres, 2,000 plants an acre. I was like, oh, let's do it, And I started learning like large agriculture. And that also in turn, doing the hemp, I would say, expanded my mind on how little you can actually feed a plant and have it turn out absolutely amazing. In the hemp industry, most everybody starts with seeds. In THC, everyone's usually getting a clone because someone said, "Oh, this clone is absolutely amazing. Here you go. You buy it from them or whatever." But the thing is through degradation of cloning and cloning and cloning, you start having more and more issues with growing your plant. The mites come in easier, disease comes in easier, all these things come in a lot easier. So in hemp, these guys are getting feminized seed, sprouting all of these seeds. I mean, thousands and thousands of seeds, and then putting them out in the field. And I'm sitting out there going like, wow, they haven't sprayed a single thing on these plants. They haven't done anything to these plants. And you're literally taking like like a 100 or 200 gallon, like big ass cistern, mixing a few nutrients in it and feeding that, 150, 200 gallons to the entire 150 acres, which really means every plant's only getting like 2 cups worth of nutrients, and they're growing big, tall, robust, sticky, smells beautiful, looks chronic, like what we want to see in your grow room. And it, it said to me that, what we were really feeding the plants out in these fields were everything to break down the natural organics that was in the dirt anyways. And so to barely feed the plant but have the plant take what it needs, that's why the next year we went out and did 540 acres. We harvested 1 million pounds of hemp, and it was like 1.2 million plants that we grew, and it was all. I mean, the cost to produce a plant, I think, was like $14. So to me, everything I've done in my life has been to just know everything about the plant. So I've done no-till my entire life, and then I've scaled up, throughout my life, learned how to go from, a watering can to feed your plants, to running drip tape to feed your plants, to large 100-horse, pumps, 30-horse, 100-horse pumps, these variable frequency drives that control the speed of the pump, to watering acres at a time throughout 540 acres, tractors, massive drying, hanging, like we hang our flower, on maybe a piece of trellis in your closet or your garage or whatever, all the way to, 100,000 square foot, like enclosed building with, warm air being pumped in, exhaust being blown out, and you're hanging it on cattle grade type, just like we would do flour, but it's literally just, curtains and curtains that are 40 feet tall, 250 feet long of just flour, and to me, it's, that's what my life goal has been, is to, as I get older and I can't be out in the field anymore, I can do consulting, or, maybe be like a general manager of something or whatever. And, I was working the fields of the hemp, and as I'm hitting my 40s now, everything hurts. It's hard to go walk, through acres and acres of plants and looking. And it got me into the extraction side. And, Delta 9 side is great, but it's only one cannabinoid. We can only do so much with just Delta 8 or Delta 9. It's a wonderful cannabinoid, but there's I think I was just reading that there's like 144 or something like that different cannabinoids out there. And, this whole industry has spurred me to get into a different kind of industry. That's why I started, through getting screwed over through businesses, or there's an opportunity to go do this, and then, like in Paraguay, and then there was like a legal issue, and now I'm not working down there, and all these different things. I started my own business with my own money, started really small, and I've been slowly growing it to get bigger and bigger, but making a living. I'm not rich by any means. I barely pay the rent on my building here, but at least I'm making it. And it's, what I'm doing is pushing my drive to find all these different cannabinoids and figure out what they do. Like I tell people, Delta 9 is an amazing cannabinoid, but where I found in hemp was that that's really what I tell people is where the medicine's at. Right, we've been developing different cannabinoids. We have, well, of course, CBD, and then came CBG, and then Delta 8 came out, which is also a great cannabinoid, almost identical to Delta 9. But the great thing about Delta 8 is that it has the euphoric feeling as Delta 9 does, but it has no paranoia, no anxiety. So people to get kind of want to stay in the house or don't want to do anything because they got high and they're like kind of like bashful and shy, they don't want to do anything. Delta 8's more the cannabinoid for you because you still can get that nice feeling, but you're still open and ready to go. And like what I've kind of told people when you make concentrates, I always kind of said, well, if you're smoking Delta 9, you're smoking Delta 9. If you're doing BHO dabs or distillate dabs or hitting the pens or whatever of Delta 9, I always was like, it's all the same kind of high. It's just a little bit different flavors, whatever. But now with finding out things like Delta 8, I said, oh, well, Delta 9 is more like an indica when it goes into a concentrate because it's like getting you relaxed, the more couch locky and stuff. Whereas Delta 8, because of the no anxiety, no paranoia, it's more of like a pure sativa feeling. Back in the day before everything became a hybrid of 60-40, 40, 30, whatever, it like you had pure indicas and pure sativas. And these pure sativas, I always rolled it up in my bag and put it in my work bag when I was doing construction. And I always said that was my work weed because you'd smoke on your sativa, you get that high feeling, but you'd be out there banging a hammer, doing whatever you had to do because it gave you that energy, that uplifting feeling. Your boss comes in and you're not like, oh God, I'm high. I hope he doesn't think I'm high. I don't want to lose my job. And, so that's where Delta 8 comes into play is it's just like the sativa. So if you're smoking those pens or doing whatever you're doing, and that's a good way to be on point with everything. Another thing that kind of got me not smoking Delta 9 as much was that I was getting in such a career with doing these and having such a responsibility in cannabis. When you're growing 1,000 plants, 1,500 plants, 50,000 plants, 100,000 plants, whatever it is, and you have these major responsibilities, when you're smoking Delta 9, for me anyways, I was like, damn, did I shut off that drip system? Is that still running? And you find yourself turning around, going back, because if you end up waterlogging 10 acres of plants and they all just get wilt and die, that's on you. And you just killed, a couple thousand, 10, 20,000 plants. You don't want to do that. And so with me, with the combination of my asthma and that paranoia and anxiety, I just had to stop, And then now with Delta 8, like I've been known to take a puff off the Delta 8 here and there. I just can't do it a lot because of my asthma. But it's an amazing cannabinoid. And now we've solidified and purified CBN, which is great cannabinoid. It's right now I would consider it my most favorite cannabinoid there is. You don't feel anything off of it, but I'm getting older. I'm hurting. I have a bad back. I'm full of nuts and bolts, and thinking I was invincible when I was younger. And CBN is, coupled with CBD and CBG, it makes an amazing effect. It's like a natural painkiller. So if I have two compressed vertebrae in my lower back, and I don't hurt all the time, but the feeling of my sore back is kind of always there. But just some days, it's not that I lifted something and my back goes out. I mean, it's probably I'm going to pick up a pencil when my back goes out. It's just kind of weird how your back goes out like that. But when it goes out, it goes out. It's like someone sticking a knife in your lower back. And I started messing around with the CBD, CBG, and CBN. And with the combination of the three, it started wiping out the edge, I guess you would call it. Because like when you got the same situation I have here and you go to the doctor, they're going to give you a Vicodin or a Percocet or something. And doesn't cure the pain, but it allows you to kind of forget about it so that you can carry on with your day, do your jobs, do your work, whatever. And, but the side effects to it are addiction, and it goes through your liver and your kidneys. And so I just kept hearing about, well, CBD is great for anti-inflammatory. Well, I'd take in CBD and I'd say, okay, it works pretty good, but it wasn't the pain relief I was looking for. And then, because so people that don't understand CBD, CBD is great for anti-inflammatory and stuff, but I like to tell people that unless you're getting it in like a full spectrum way, like your crude or people call crude RSO and stuff like that, unless you're taking it in that way internally, CBD is a lot better topically. So if you have, sore hands or something like that, you're going to want to rub salves with CBD. CBG is better internally. And then the combination between the two internally is like it like intensifies the two. So like one cannabinoid almost accentuates the other one. So I'm designing product lines, and typically, my product lines have CBD and CBG both in them. So if you're doing topical, it's both of them. If you're going internal, it's both of them. Because like the two of them together really are the ticket. Um, and but when you add the CBN to it, that's where it started acting more like pain relief. It took the edge off my pain in my back. It took the edge off when I pull a muscle in my neck, like just like a Vicodin or a Percocet does, except for there's no addiction, there's no kidney and liver damage done through it and all that good stuff. But on top of that, it helps like insomnia. I'm fine with sleeping, but with CBN, the CBD and CBG give the entourage effect to the CBN, and I like somewhere around here. So I make. We have get the cotton out of there. Hopefully people can see this, but they're pills we're making, and I know some people aren't really big about the pills or anything like that, but they say you're making it look like a drug. And I say, well, I think dabs did that because dabs don't look any better than a pill, So I'm not here to say that pills are bad or whatever, but I'm trying to say this is a natural pill or whatever. But so I have two different kinds of pills. And the reason why I went with the pill was I was giving my girlfriend, her mom is 76 years old, and she's got a lot of arthritis and all this stuff. And we've been trying to get her CBD and CBG into her regimen to help her out. But she's so old school that it's like, oh, well, I don't want to get high on it. And you're like, you're not going to get high on it. And then you give her a tincture, and she's like, oh, I could taste the marijuana in it. And you're like, no, you don't. But, but it's just the stigma of it. So when we were down visiting her mother, I saw a plethora of pills sitting on her vanity in her bathroom. And I said, oh my God, your mom takes a lot of pills. And she's like, yeah, they're for arthritis. They're for this. They're for, blood and cholesterol or whatever. But the older community accepts pills, And so I told a buddy of mine, I said, we need to figure out how to get pills made, because I can get this into her life where it's just another pill that she can take, but now it can help her. And because of it, it's taken her off a lot of bad pills. And I've helped a lot of people do that with these pills. And so they're not bad because they're doing good. That's how I look at it. But I have a pill that's 10 milligrams each of CBD, CBG, and CBN. And I kind of consider that my pain pill. So if my back's hurting and I'm here at work and I'm trying to do business, I'll take two of those, and it'll cut that edge off, and I'm doing my job. I'm doing what I need to do to make money, to survive through the day or whatever. My other pill is 7.5 milligrams CBN, but 22.5 milligrams CBD, no CBG. And I take two pills every time I do this. So that would be like 15 milligrams of CBN, and that'd be 45 milligrams of CBD. And it also helps with pain, but I call those my sleep pills. You sleep so hard that it releases tension in your back, neck, whatever. But it gives you such an amazing sleep that The best way I can explain it is that, like, so the common person goes to bed and you kind of toss and turn for a minute. And when it comes to REM sleep, like dream sleep, you're really only getting like an hour or two of that if you're lucky. Um, there's a transitional sleep until you get to that deep sleep, and that's the best sleep you can have. And with the sleep pills I've been doing, um, I'm having I've got to say at least 6 hours of REM sleep. Like, it is just like someone knocks you out and you're just laying there out cold. Um, and you're deep in the dreams. So deep in the dreams that they're becoming like lucid dreams. Like I've always been afraid of a sleeping pill because, like, I don't want to like take a sleeping pill and then wake up and be like, oh my god, it's noon. I gotta get to work or something. And these aren't like that. Like, you'll wake up, go to the bathroom. If the dog's barking, you're up. You're checking out what they're doing. But the minute you come back to bed and you put your head down, it's like boom, you're just knocked back out. And I've like literally been dreaming. Wake up, go to the bathroom, come back, lay back down, and right back in the same exact dream. And you're in the dream going like, oh, I'm back dreaming, and you're dreaming. And people say that, like, it's where I'm playing with right now is where that's where people say that, like, that's where you say I can fly, and then you can fly in your dream or whatever. And that's lucid dreaming. And it's been amazing. And when you wake up in the morning, you're not groggy, you're not anything, but you're so well rested that you're ready to tackle a day like no other. So to me, this cannabinoid adventure has been amazing. It's the next one, I'm just blabbering here because I love the industry and I love cannabinoids, but CBC, that's what we're trying to solidify and purify because it adds to my good pain pill. So CBC is, so let's see how I explain it. So if you get a paper cut, that's like the worst thing that you can ever get, because that paper cut hurts all day long, and you're just like, everyone's like, well, you're like a baby, you got a paper cut. You're like, it just hurts. It's just a pain. But you can go out, fall off your bike, break your arm, and have a bone sticking out of you, and you don't feel it because your body's immediately in shock. So your body produces a natural painkiller to where you don't feel that. And I will tell you, that's the absolute truth, because I had a bone sticking out of my collarbone and I didn't feel it. I actually got on a bicycle and rode a mile home with a bone sticking out of my shoulder, but I'll cry with a paper cut.
Jesus.
So that internal pain relief that your body produces is an amazing pain relief. It's better than anything you're ever going to get. And through research, I've been finding out that CBC is produced through your internal endocannabinoid system. And what it does is the CBC is made from your endocannabinoid system, and then it produces, your body sees the CBC and produces something called anandamide. And the anandamide is your natural pain relief that your body produces to kill something like shot, like a bone sticking out of you or whatever. So we're trying to solidify and purify the CBC and add it in small amounts to the pill too, so that you have natural pain relief. If it works, it's going to be amazing. Big Pharma probably won't like me much, but Brown Guy might disappear. But to me, it's part of the adventure of all these different cannabinoids and what they actually do. And then we can play around and mix and match and all this other stuff, and see what they can do. Like I said, I could talk about this stuff forever, but that's been my journey. Growing to large agriculture to now just feeding, I guess you would say, my love for the plant and what it can do. And now I'm in the science side of it, I guess you'd say, the lab.
And I'm glad to see that you're still hungry as you are. And, I'm glad I'm taking this all in. I'm loving this. And by the way, Chad's loving this. And, I, you can ramble on all you want, by the way, because it's just great information. And a lot of people are saying here in chat that they would be interested in such a pill there. I know a lot of people suffer from sleep and whatnot, and because it doesn't have the active THC, the Delta 9 in it, you ship it from state to state? Is it something that you can help some of these folks if they're willing to reach out to you? Is it available?
Yeah, I
uh,
actually have a website. I mean, I'm building it, but it's live, and it's solocbd.org, org. And I'm actually, today I had somebody with multiple sclerosis come in, so I'm trying to figure out like what helps them. I've had a lot of people with slip discs and stuff like that in their back, so we're working with them. I've had a lot of positive feedback with it. Insomnia, people are loving it. And that's, you can ship it. I can ship it anywhere in the world. And there's a lot of people that don't smoke, THC cannabis because they have a job that, you can get a urine test at. And if you come up dirty, you lose, a good job or something. And so with these pills, you can take them and get natural relief, pain relief, and all this stuff, and you're still passing drug tests. It's great. It's just, like I said, it's to me, I started all this by smoking weed just because I liked getting high. And then, THC is a medicine. It's or Delta 9 is what I'm referring to. Because there's a lot of different kinds of THC. Delta 9 is a medicine. It helps with a lot of different kinds of ailments, cancers, everything. Um, you know, my excuse was I just wanted to get high, but I called it medicine, and I went with the medical crowd and got my medical card and did all that stuff. But for me, the real medicine is in all the other cannabinoids. Like, now that I'm not smoking anymore, it's like I said, it's just turned into a new passion. I've been growing for so long that like I can just grow and have a successful crop, and I'm like, cool. And then I grow and I have a successful crop, and I'm like, all right, cool. And I'm still going to be doing that, like on my new YouTube channel. Um, I'm still going to do like my during the growing season for outdoor, I'll grow plants, but I'm trying to infuse into like growing vegetables and stuff like that too, not just the cannabis. I'll do cannabis and vegetables because I want people to know that with no-till, this isn't just like a weed, a way to grow your weed in this kind of soil. Because like with some people's way of growing, it's catered towards cannabis. Like this is catered for everything. You can grow your fruit tree in it. You can grow watermelons and squash and all this other stuff. So I'm trying to expand the people that actually take in the no-till, but then that's only for part of the season, for the growing season of outdoor, my garden beds and all that stuff. And then during the rest of the season, my new daily grind show is called Telling It Like It Is, which has I guess you would say I'm, well, for one, I'm telling you about what I'm doing here at my company at Solo Scientific, the everyday life, trying to run my lab and dealing with like employees and stuff. Like I've hired on a few guys and had to get rid of them because it's just people want to sit around and talk, like I'm like, well, that's great. We can talk, but there's a lot of work to get done. We got to, now that I'm a business, I have to pay bills. I have to make sure that, that guy's getting paid. My other guy is getting paid. I'm getting paid. I'm paying for the rent on the buildings. I got to be able to advance with the advancements in this industry. So I got to be able to purchase machines for the next new thing and all this stuff. So I found that when I hired people, everyone wanted 6 figures a year and sit around and be all philosophical about what's going on. And I'm like, No, we can't do that. We got to, like, we're doing R&D, we're doing chemistry, we're doing science, and we got to go. Like, this industry is evolving so fast that what's happening today is forgotten tomorrow because it's an average thing tomorrow, you know? And through Telling It Like It Is, my new daily grind show, you know, back in the day, this used to be a very, very close knit circle of growers and all that stuff. Like, I can go to the other side of this earth and bump into someone I know that's in the cannabis industry. And it's happened many times. You just go somewhere, you're like, oh, what the hell are you doing here? And they're like, oh, I'm just out here. You know, you're like, oh, because the tightness of growers is unbelievable. But now, with things becoming recreational and more business, I'm finding that you're getting screwed more. You're getting, you know, back in the day, I can, you know, let's say I grew 100 pounds, and my buddy Bob over here is like, hey, let me take those. I got some friends that'll buy them from you or something. You're like, sweet. And he's like, I'll come back, I swear. And you're like, all right. And you guys shake hands, and it's all good. Like, Bob comes back with money, you know, and it was all good. And in today's industry, that's all thrown out the window. Like, you become friends with somebody. They're like, oh, make me a kilo of this. And you're like, okay, here you go. And they pay you for it. And they're like, okay, make me 2 kilos of that. And you're like, okay, here's the money. Okay, all right, cool, thank you. And then they're like, I want 100 kilos of that. And you're like, wow, shit, okay. And then you spend all your time and all your money into doing this 100 kilos for a client. And then they're like, hey, well, the buyer is down the street. I'll be right back. And then they take it all, and you know, they built this trust with you. And so you go, oh, okay, cool. And then you never see them again. And you just did $60,000 worth of work, and this guy just ghosted you. And you're like, I thought we were homies. I thought we were friends. Like, what the fuck, you know? And so I'm trying to put that out there. One is like, watch yourself. Like, I know everyone wants to get in the cannabis industry. I know everybody. It's like, seems so cool to be here. And I'm not saying that it's not. I love what I'm doing. I totally love what I'm doing. But you have to love what you're doing, because you're not going to get rich in this industry anymore. Like, you made more money in the black market back in the days. Like, I'm running what's equivalent to, I mean, it's a lot better than an auto shop, but I'm making about this, you know, you make about the same money as an auto shop. Like, I'm in the armpit of the nation, that there's so much being made in my state that I don't, like, if you're in Florida and you have like 1 kilo of something, it can go for $3,000. Here in Oregon, that same product that the guy from Florida probably came and bought from me is going for 1,500 at most. And then you do all the work, they take it, they go give it to the other guy, and they make all the money. So like, I have to put out 10 times as much as a lot of other places do. They're in the country where the value is higher. So like, I'm like running like almost like a factory. We're learning something. You got to purify it. You got to make large amounts of it and sell it, and pay the bills. And so like, you know, but with the Telling It Like It is like, I want people to know that, like, you're probably only going to get hired for $20 an hour in this industry. Even if you're in the lab, like, it's cool to be in the lab, but you're only making 20, $25 an hour. So like, it's the same thing swinging a hammer, building a house. Like, you're not, you know, driving Ferraris and lifted trucks and stuff. Like, that's not what the cannabis industry is evolving into. It's evolving into an actual business. So you're making the same amount of money if you cut hair, build computers, whatever it is that you're doing. I want people to understand that, but I also want people to understand that there is bad business in here. There are people that will take you. Like, if you're going to come into, let's just say you come into Oregon, you sold your house that you had paid off, and you have $250,000, and you got the dream of starting a grow or doing something. You know, I tell people all the time, don't go all in. Don't go all in. Don't take your 250 grand that you sold your house for and go grow 50 acres of hemp, and all you see is that you're going to be this successful farmer and all this stuff. I tell people, come out here, rent a house, do whatever you want, but grow an acre. You know, like go get your license to grow it, grow an acre, and if you just so happen to sell everything you produced on that acre, say you sold it and everything in 6 months, and you're like, man, I should have grew 2 acres. Well, at least you sold out early and you don't have surplus, you know. And then next year you can grow the 2 acres, because if you sell out before the end of the year, that's a good problem to have. If you grew 50 acres and you only sold 2 acres worth of it, that's a bad problem to have, because your product is only getting older through time. And now your $250,000 paid off house that was great, all you're doing is paying taxes on the land, was made into a horrible investment, and you lost almost all of it. And before it all went to crap, you sold it at $1 a pound just to recoup some of your money. And now you hate the industry. It ruins you. Your life savings is gone. And I see it all the time. I see people come in, take everything they have, spend hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars, build something, and then you see it all on Craigslist. You know, $500,000 worth of lab equipment being sold for $75,000 if you take it all. You know, and a farm that someone put $5 million into it is being sold for $1 million. They just want to cash out. So like, I'm trying to allow people to understand what is the industry. Like, I know everyone's smoking, dabbing, all that stuff, and that's great, but you got to understand what this industry is. Like, it's just a job, and you know, if you're in it, be in it to love it. You know, just like what I'm doing and my partner's doing. You know, I can go out and make more money than I'm making right now in this industry. I'm a master electrician. You know, I've been doing. I own my own electrical company. Uh, in this state of Oregon, I can be making like $50 an hour here running wire, and I choose to live the life of the hustle, to pursue cannabinoids. Some days are great days, but then there's, you know, I'm like a real estate agent. Like I can make $20,000 tomorrow, but I may not make money for 3 or 4 more weeks after that, or 2 months. You know, like, so you got to sit on your money, know how to money manage. You know, make sure that I'm here next month. Like, I'm paying my rent. I've had to put so much money to be certified in this building. I have to make sure that I'm there every month. You know, because it's the investment. And even though, like, my people that have been following me for a long time know my best friend, Big D is what we call him. You know, my main concern is paying our rent here, and him and I can go feed our families and keep the roofs over our heads. And, you know, most of the time that gets done. And then savings, sometimes we have it, and then sometimes it dwindles down to almost nothing because there's no business. And things are so cheap and you can't make enough money to make the ends meet. So, you know, that's what I'm trying to put out into the community now. Like, I taught no-till, and all these guys that are on YouTube now have taken that, like you said, it was the revolution, no-till revolution. That was great. It was just the beginning. There's a whole society now, like these probiotic farmers, you know, all this stuff that I see online and I'm getting invited to, and all this stuff. And I'm just like, wow, you guys are just like these guys are completely turning into like scientists, like I'm here at my lab. But they're taking the soil to a whole new level. You know, these guys have just nerded out so deep into it. Like, I've got my way of doing my no-till, but then when I watch these guys, I'm like, wow, dude, you know, Joshua Steensland and all these guys that are just, I mean, that's where they want to be, and that's their passion. You know, like, I just want to know how to do good, clean flour, good, clean vegetables, good, clean everything. And my way is rock solid. And I do implement new things here and there because you know, like Korean KNF, Korean natural farming and stuff like that. You start to learn those and you bring that and implement that in. But I guess you'd say that, like, I just kind of I grew tired of doing the same, you know, just growing a crop over and over. And that's where, when I saw hemp and I saw all these other cannabinoids, and learning how to find those cannabinoids and how to produce those cannabinoids, it's ignited something in me to pursue it. And that's my entire company is literally to pursue and purify individual cannabinoids, because like I have a product line and I'm hoping to sell products and stuff, but I'm not banking on that. Like, you know, people are like, oh, you're BrownGuy420, you're gonna kill it. And I'm like, but I'm a marketing failure. So, you know, like people that follow me, like I'll say, oh, okay, check out my website, and there it is. But my passion is to build a company to where if you're the guy that has a product line and you're trying to do something, you're going to come to someone like me, and you're going to, it's like the grocery store of cannabinoids, and you're going to pull off some CBN, and you're going to pull off some CBD, and then you're going to go over here and grab some of this and that, you know. And that's what I'm kind of going for is I want to be that wholesale type guy for the dude who wants to make, you know, the gummies, the tinctures, and all that other stuff. Like, get into all that. Like with me, the last thing I want to do is be making tinctures all day. Like, I go to somebody that, you know, it's a good dear friend of mine, and she makes my tinctures and puts my products into it, so I know it's my product. But she makes the lotions, she makes the tinctures, and makes them taste good, and makes everything taste great, and you know, very effective and all that stuff. But I don't know anything about making the products, you know. And my thing is, like, I want to have my hands on something. So with me, it's having my hands into the lab and making cannabinoids and trying them and seeing what they do.
That would be a fun evolution all on itself, right there. I would think. You know, that would be pretty amazing, and it's awesome that that you're still willing to be that middleman. You know what I mean? Somebody's got to do the groundwork, and as long as you're happy doing it, then you know, why not? You know, I'm just stoked that you know after all the journey, the hardships that you've had, that you're still you know this fired up about where you are, and you know, I appreciate the fact that you're doing it because uh, it genuinely makes you happy. You know what I mean? Because you know, you to be honest with you, you gave me a little bit of hope, and I've got some questions here, by the way. But you gave me hope, and you had me at Paraguay, by the way. You know, that's where you know, that's my mindset. That's where I would have kind of hung out. So that's what kind of makes me get, you know, you give me a little bit of hope there because if I'm happy at that mindset, being genuinely happy and, you know, quality of life is more, then sounds like I could stand a chance at, you know, pushing forward and, you know, pursuing my passion, working with cannabis. And again, you know, I appreciate the fact that you know, you may be able to make more money pulling wire and working for yourself, but there's a couple of things with that. We both know you can't do that forever because that sucks
Yep.
and it hurts. Second thing is, you know, owning a company like that and working, you know, right now you're your own man either way. The only difference is you're hating your time doing one and you love your time doing the other. And is the money worth, you know, hating your time? I don't think so. I would rather love my time and have a little bit less in my pocket versus have more in my pocket and hate everything I do because I've been on that aspect of it too. And it's no fun running the wire, you know, 8, 10 hours a day and then dealing with customers, putting jobs together. The phone never stops ringing. You're constantly worried about what's next and this and that, keeping customers happy. That's miserable. I would much rather be dealing with the cannabis side of things and being genuinely happy. So hats off to you for, you know, following your heart versus following your wallet. You know,
Well,
it shows a great character, a great
it's
person. So,
definitely
oh
it's
yeah.
definitely, you know, people say when you do what you love, it's no longer a job, you know. I I've, you know, in my, you know, past life, uh you know, I would get on it. I would go into a job and I, you know, say, hey, hire me up, and they'd be like, why? And I'm like, because I'm a hard worker. I come in every day. I'm like never sick. Like I never call in. I'll give you my 110%. And they're like, you know, and they think about it. And you're like, dude, I swear I'll be one of the best employees you got within the first 6 months of hiring me. They give me a chance. I go in, I bend over backwards. I mean, I'd be working holidays, Christmas, whatever. It didn't matter. I was there. I was dependable. I was reliable. I worked 10 times harder than the next guy. I wanted to rate my whole goal in life, because I mean, I grew up in like the construction era. Like we all, you know, the baby boomers were building houses, and I was a guy doing all this stuff, you know, all this construction. And I kind of like, you know, I busted my butt with all these other people because I wanted to be the foreman. I didn't want to be the worker. I wanted to show you that I was such a hard worker that eventually you're going to put me up here and I'm going to get paid a little bit better to go check on all the houses rather than you just send me to go wire a house or something, you know? And, and, you know, the problem with that is that, you know, being a responsible, hardworking person, for some people, I mean, don't get me wrong. Some people, I have a great buddy who he's just gone up the ladder, and he's an electrician also. And now he's like some high corporate job being paid 100,000 plus a year. And I'm proud of the guy. I'm like, damn, I'm the one who got you into that. And, but you know, most people are going to end up like me, where you your back hurts every day, your hands hurt with arthritis because you busted your ass your whole life to try to get into a good position, and it never happened. And it's depressing. It's kind of unmotivating to you. It sucks, you know. And when I started my own electrical company, I had that taste of life. That like, all right, I just got to go drum up the work. I can do this. I'm the boss. Like I could take a break when I want to. I can do what I want to. And then in 2008, the economy just crashed and went down the toilet. And I was like, shit, I'm out of a job. You know, no one's building, no one's doing anything in Arizona where I was at. And I was just like, what do I do? So I just up and left and went to Oregon because I wanted to pursue my love for cannabis. That's what I went to school for. I went to school for soil, you know, botany and stuff. And I was kind of like, you know, living the dream. I just, you know, packed everything up and drove with a pocket full of money to find a small rental and my dog and my car and personal stuff, and just said, I'm going to go do it, you know? And it took years to get into the industry. But, you know, the thing, my mentality with trying to survive or get somewhere in this industry is like, it's like gambling. If you're going to go out there and you're going to gamble, a lot of people make livings off gambling because the odds of winning are going to come. You can lose, but then you're going to win. And so, you know, and a lot of people play those odds on when you win and all this stuff. So I kind of have played those odds of like, don't give up, keep doing it. And I mean, through all these many years of me being in the cannabis industry, I've lost a lot more than I've won, you know, and here it is now, my 100th time of trying to do something in cannabis. I'm winning. I'm doing it. I'm every month I'm like, wow, shit, we paid another month of rent. I just celebrated 1 year of having my company open, and January 10th. And so I just, you know, I'm very grateful for where not giving up has put me, you know. I say it to my partners because this company's just me and my boy D. We got rid of the people. Him and I just decided we're going to work harder, you know, make sure we make this company what we want it to do, save the money that we need, pay our bills so we can afford equipment and do the things we need to do to stay in here. But I mean, him and I will go to lunch and I just like, isn't it crazy that we're just like working for ourselves and we're like doing this and like it's completely legal and we're like just making money in the cannabis industry. Like, and he's probably, he's probably tired of hearing me like, yeah, dude, it's cool, whatever. We're in the, but I'm just like, damn, we're doing it, man. We're actually doing it, and it doesn't matter what you want to do. If you want to be the top mechanic company in the nation, then do it. Don't ever give up is what I tell people, just manage what you do. Don't go all in, like I also I do a lot of you know crypto stuff, day trading, bulls and bears and stuff like that. And the biggest thing is they say don't ever put more than 10% in on any kind of trade. Don't throw it all in. Don't go 100. Oh, this is gonna be it, and I got 200 grand and I throw it all in it because then you could lose it all. And then where are you at? So always put parts in, and then if it's working, do a little bit more. And if it keeps working, keep following that. And I mean that this company that I did, I mean, I literally started like in my garage with a little tiny system, and my girlfriend's like, "You should just start a business." And I'm like, "Dude, this is like the play school extractor system. Like this is like, if I go in there and I'm like, yeah, I'm an extractor, people are just gonna laugh me right out of a building. Like, it, it was just small stuff, and I did it off of that. A year later, I have giant machines. I have bigger distillation equipment. I have all these things going on because I applied myself a little. And even though I was literally working almost 24 hours a day, I was sleeping like 4 hours, but while I was sleeping, my machine was still running. And I had to just keep this revolving door of working going for me to survive because my machine was so small. And, if you want something to be successful, I follow a lot of positive mentor people and all this stuff. And they always say, a guy that works, 8 to 4, 9 to 5, makes a living. The guy who applies himself is every day, doesn't matter how many hours it is, from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep, it's all about what you want. That's a successful person. That's someone who's going to get the job done. You're going to go somewhere. And if you don't, it's probably because of your mindset, like out of losing all these great opportunities I had by screwed over or whatever. I'm like, man, this sucks. And people were always going to screw me over. And that was my last freaking chance. And, might as well go flip burgers at McDonald's or something. I'm going to put myself there. Me, I've already made it. I'm already there. I have a successful company. That's how I look at myself. And here it is a year into it, and I'm here. And I'm, like I said, I'm like, I can't believe I'm here. But it's the mindset. If you're going to do it. And just make sure you do baby steps, especially this industry. You could probably throw 100% in on a mechanic shop and probably be successful in a mechanic shop because everybody needs a mechanic. But when you're in this industry, there's a lot more. There's a lot of people that do what I'm doing, and there's a lot of people that do the basic extractions. There's a lot of people growing. There's a lot of people doing that. So mind what you're doing and start small and organically grow your business. And you will be successful. Just it takes time. Where they say Rome wasn't made in a day or whatever. Well, neither was Solo Scientific. Took a year to make it.
Man, I gotta tell you, I had a lot of respect for you before we came into this. But talking to you and listening to you speak, I have. You took it from like 100 to 1,000. To be honest with you, because it's very true, man. I've watched you through the years. You've been very transparent about the way you handle things. You've given a lot of people like myself, a regular average Joe, the inspiration, if he could do it, I can do it. And it was tough to watch what happened to you, brother. Because as somebody that was watching and doing, like I said, it's possible. You know what I mean? This cat's doing it, and it's possible. It was tough to watch take it on the chin, and fucking, that's a hell of an obstacle. And to hear you be so optimistic now in this stage of the game, sitting there with your partner, going, I can't believe we're doing it. It's happening after walking through so many obstacles. Is a very very refreshing, to be honest with you. And one other thing, well, there's two other things I want to say real quick is, you know, do you realize that, that the pills that you're talking about, the pills that you're creating, the heavy please sleep pills that almost put you into that elusive state, uh, may almost be a good key to pushing you forward to your dreams now, because it's that lucid sleep that is kind of programs uh, that that mindset that you can do anything, that manifestation mindset. I'm a big believer in manifestation, for one. And that's my next question is, I listen to a lot of motivational speakers myself, so I'm kind of curious to whom some of your I guess you could say mentors would be. Who do you listen to? Because I listen to a bunch of them. I'm curious to listen to if we're kind of in the same library a little
You
bit.
know, it's when it comes to the motivation, some of it's personal people I know, and they just tell me the same thing. They're just successful people in the industry, and everyone knows that I'm been a part of Humboldt Seed Organization for a very long time. They're just good friends of mine, and they have a very successful seed company, and they were always motivational to me. Those are they're such kind people that they would always call, be like, damn, sorry, bro. Like, I heard about the farm, and is there anything we can do? And they're like, dude, we know you're going to get back on your feet. We know you're going to do that. I mean, we've had it before, and they give you that motivation. And then on top of that, my Instagram, I follow, like I said, I'm in the cryptocurrencies and stuff. So like, there's a guy that's called Millionaire Mentor. He's made all his money through crypto, but like he just puts these little, I don't know what you call them, memes or something, and that's a lot of it is like, it's good inspirational, just quotes, like I was saying, if you work a 9 to 5, you're just going to get by. But if you eat, sleep, and do, from time you wake up to the time you go to bed, that's a successful person. That's an entrepreneur. That, like, those things are what, I just scroll, I'm so busy that, it's hard for me to watch a lot of stuff. And so like these little quick quotes and stuff, give me a lot, I guess you would say. And then, you had a point there when you said, the with the pills, you know, having that good sleep, it allows you to be ready and sharp for the next day. And then, that almost that lucid sleep, like I said, you're like aware that you're in the dream. Sometimes you just have wild dreams, like you're just somewhere and just crazy shit's happening or whatever. But you know, with me, it's like you could be focused on something so much that even without taking the CBN pills or anything like that, like when you do dream that night, you're dreaming about the situation that you're doing at work or doing whatever is in that you're so focused on in life. And I've been so focused on, like, because like in my world right now, it's like the CBN thing. It was like, oh, we made 5% CBD. We only have 95% more to go before we can purify it. And then we were able to get our CBN up to 25%. Well, then I would go home, be completely exhausted, mentally and physically exhausted. And then I started, you eat something like this that makes you sleep, and you go into these dreams. And my whole dream was like I was still at work, and I'm literally like experimenting in my dreams, and then like I would go to work and say, dude, I think that we can do this, you know. And now with me getting better sleep on some of the nights, I don't take them every night. I just don't, you know, with cannabinoids, like I know with like Delta 9, when I was smoking all the time, like one joint gets you blasted, but then you keep smoking every day, then it takes 2 days or two joints to get you there. So I try to I take them like 3 times a week probably, but it gives me like if I'm thinking about something that happened. I mean, we've been making we try to do something that make a cannabinoid, and you're sitting there with what's called a reactor. It's just this big giant glass vessel with a big stir stick in it, and you're like, okay, I think this is gonna work. And literally, it goes what's called like exothermic, and it boils. And we've had oil literally volcano out of this machine, and it's raining oil all over us. It's all over the walls, and you know, we spend the next 2 days scraping oil off the floor and going, damn, what happened there? Well, like getting these new, getting this good sleep allows you to think about these things. And you know, I'd come in the next day and say, dude, I completely understand what happened there. Like, I know what happened, and so it's helping my advancement in this industry because you know the things I'm doing literally, it's chemistry. I'm turning like CBD into Delta 8, and then I'm taking Delta 8 and turning that into CBN. So like, you know, we're all, I don't think I have it here, but we're all aware of you know, the carbon molecule that, you know, they're kind of like the little, you know, chain link, like the, you know, Delta 9, like my BrownGuy420 logo was the Delta 9 carbon molecule. You know, it's just a little octagonal looks, you know, and it's like hydrogen, oxygen, and all that type of stuff. Yep, there you go. And so when you're making other cannabinoids, it's you're literally just taking an oxygen atom out and opening that hydroxyl group or adding that hydrogen over here, or, you know, and so we're literally just rearranging. Like all these cannabinoids are almost all formed from the same kind of carbon chain. We're just rearranging the carbon chain or releasing an oxygen molecule or whatever and evolving the cannabinoid. So we're like maturing it out is what we're doing. And you know, it's with good sleep, like it's amazing what you can do. You know, if you wake up because you were tossing and turning all night, you're probably not getting much done throughout the day. So, you know, the cannabinoids are helping me throughout my whole life, and that's what I think's driving me is because I'm like, wow, what's the next one going to do? You know, so
You know, I can't sit here and I'm sorry to interrupt you, brown guy, but
oh, it's all good.
I'm sitting here honestly giddy that you're honestly so, and excuse my language here, but so fucking naive about what you've got here, brother. And I'm quite serious about that because there's a lot of research going on about sleep and the REM cycles and manifestation. And basically, it sounds like what you've got here is a fucking cheater pill, to the manifestation there, because there's a lot of research and a lot of books on how to be able to program yourself into getting that state and to be able to manifest things. That you're basically, there's many times I know you and other people have went to sleep with that problem, just like you're saying,
yeah,
on your mind, and you've woke up out of nowhere. That's the answer. Well, you've kind of programmed yourself before you went to sleep and told yourself this is the problem that I want my subconscious mind to be working on. Well, if you can, shorten that first REM cycle and be able to get right to that state, that deep sleep that you're talking about, if you can, take that pill and be able to go to bed and quickly slip into that, well, you're all the more closer to manifesting what you're thinking about. So if there's tons and tons of research that goes to say, you are what you think about. both motivationally and just as people that believe in manifestation. But it sounds to me like basically what you've created is a cheater pill for the manifestation process, basically, uh, which I think's incredibly awesome. To be honest with you, I'm very interested to see where this in particular product will go. It's got me very excited about that because again, I listen to a lot of you ever, and I can't believe you've never listened to like Napoleon Hill. That's one of the great manifestor, motivational people as well, and he talks about that pre-programming before you go to sleep. He's a big advocate at where he's talking about you are what you think about, and programming your thoughts before you go to sleep. So it's amazing. Yeah, I'm serious. If you were to look a little deeper into manifestation and that type of thing, you'd see directly how the product that you're talking about directly applies. Uh, so that's pretty awesome. Really awesome, I got to tell you.
And it is all about motivation. It's life is motivation. You gotta motivate yourself. It's if you can't motivate yourself, you
Wow.
can't depend on other people to motivate you. So you gotta do it for yourself. You know. What we do here, I kind of, as you were talking there, I'm packing up the lab. I'm getting ready to go home. But I was showing you guys. This is all pure CBN right here.
Wow.
And it's just this is a lot of you already know. I mean, it's isolate. It's just a fine powder, and this is what our goal is to purify a cannabinoid until you can get it into a 99.9% purity. You know, that's what it's all about. Because then from there you can say that this does something because it's pure. It's a you can't say that aloe vera plants cure cancer because it's the plant. Like you gotta break down the entire plant. Um, this is the short path machine right here. Uh, you boil dirty oil that's not cleaned up, and it comes up through like a distillation process. If any of you guys are familiar with making alcohol or anything like that, same essence. It boils up, it turns vaporous, it condenses over here, rolls down, and then you catch it in a flask. And any undesirables get stopped by, these are called cold traps, which are full of it's like dry ice and isopropyl alcohol. It gets super 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 cold, and then you just pull vacuum with a big pump and everything, and you make big, nice, beautiful, clean oil. And then from there, what we do is we will do what's called crashing it out, I guess you'd say, which is making it into a powder. You know. So, and then these are what you call roto evaporators. They pull off like solvents and stuff like that. But it's the motivation into the industry. Like I said, you have to keep yourself motivated. You have to, oops, sorry, you have to drive yourself. Like I said, it's like the motivational speakers can do a lot for yourself, but when you're trying to conquer your own dreams and do your own thing, I feel like you have to be your own motivational speaker. Because nobody can pump you up better than yourself. You know, um, it's just with me, it's through time and time again, like through failure in past uh, situations or whatever you want to call it. Uh, sometimes sometimes a motivational speaker could almost bring you down. You know, they're like, yeah, that guy's got everything. Of course he has every right to say, everything works out in time, like, so if you're at your lowest of lows, sometimes, the motivational part of some of speakers, could almost bring you down, I'd say. But a lot of them are uplifting. But what I'm trying to say here is that, like, yourself, like, my biggest motivational speaker is Paul, because I'm always telling myself to get up and keep doing it and keep crushing it and don't take no for an answer. I don't care if there's a billion people in this damn industry. I'm going to be successful. And it's what you tell yourself in your own brain. Like I think you mentioned earlier, was manifesting your own destiny is such a real thing. Like, some people can negate it and say that, no, you don't manifest your own destiny. And then you say, well, what is it? You just deal with the cards you were dealt. And they're like, yeah. And you're like, well, what's that? Like, what's the cards I was dealt? Like, there's some superpower up there that dealt me some cards and Paul's going to crash and burn every time. Like, no. So, with, I guess, one motivational speaker, okay, on YouTube, there's a short movie and it's called The Secret. And if any of you guys want to push on your own motivational worth, I'm going to tell you that's pretty much how I live my life, is through that movie right there. Because, you can listen to motivation or you can make your own internal motivation. And these guys are like, the human brain is more powerful than anything there is. So when you tell yourself you're going to do it, don't say I'm going to, I'm Paul and I'm going to run a cannabis lab. I hope I make it. You say, I'm Paul, I'm running a cannabis lab and I have made it, and I don't care if I made $1 or $1,000,000. I'm here. So I've made it, I'm in it. I'm in it to win it. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. You guys are going to see me fall over dead in this industry, and it's because I love it, what I want to be in, where I'm always going to be. Never going to pull wire again. So
Can I stop you there, Paul?
yeah,
Brown guy?
yeah,
That's where your product comes. That's where the key is. That's where it comes in right there, brother. That's where it comes in, because that's where most people fuck up when they manifesting anything, is they say it, and they, oh yeah, I want $1,000,000, I want $1,000,000, but they don't see themselves doing it. They can, and you're right, you can't just say I want it. You have to actually say it. It's done. You're doing it. You have to put yourself in the now, in the active, to where you can see it. Now, this is where your product comes in with the lucid dreaming. You go to bed with that thought in your mind. You know what I mean? This is who I am. This is what I want. This is who I am. This is what I want. And now you fall into that quick lucid dreaming state that your product could help you do. Now, once you're into that state, you're in that programming state of mind, okay? And when you're in that state of mind, your brain doesn't know the truth from a lie. So if you programmed yourself into seeing that vision that I am this, I'm doing this, and you're in that lucid dream, you're programming your mind basically that I am that. So you're waking up refreshed. You've seen yourself living your dreams, doing what you want to do, and it's pretty much putting it in the ether, setting it forward. So that's why I'm so excited. It's basically the missing piece for The Secret. It's a cheater. It's a cheater pill to The Secret in my mind. Uh, so that's why I'm kind of really excited about, basically the product you're putting forth. They seem to work hand in hand. So yeah, awesome stuff, brother. Very awesome stuff.
yeah.
I hope I didn't lose you, brother. we didn't lose him. It is. Well, hopefully you guys can hear me anyways and you've enjoyed this so far. Uh, he did tell me that once work was done, that it could be pretty well over. There he is,
Okay.
hopefully.
All right. You guys hear me?
There you are. I can
All
hear
right.
you
Sorry.
now. I can hear
I had
you.
to hop in. I had to hop in my truck. gotta go home. But let's see. You guys. Yeah.
So,
You guys.
so with that being said, we probably should. You did say once you got home, it was going to be the end of it. So, might be a good time to just wrap it up before, unfortunately, we lose you on the road anyway. But hopefully, we can do this again and get a little bit deeper. I think you've had a good enough time here to where I might be able to get you back another night and be able to dive a little deeper into the Brian guy story. What do you think?
Yeah.
Is that
You know,
something that could possibly happen?
I'm always open to getting on, talking. Like I said, I could talk forever on all this stuff. It's passion. Like I said, it doesn't matter if I make $1 or $1 million. This is where I'm at. This is what I love, and so I'm always open. And with your show, it starts late enough to where it doesn't interfere with the workday. So, because like I said, I got to put my 110 into it, and so I work like a dog every day. But at least it's for yourself, like we were talking. So, but if you invite me again, I'll most definitely get back on it. That's not a problem.
Oh, that's awesome because I've had a lot of fun, and we're just tapping the source of the wealth of knowledge that you have. I know you dish it out on your own and on your own channel, but man, it's pretty nice to hang out and have access and let the community have access to such a great guy like yourself. So that'd be pretty awesome if we could make that happen. One last thing I'd
Yeah,
like to get from you before you go there is I did tell you about the rabbit hole. Hopefully, one of these nights, well, maybe as you're driving home or you're packing it up, maybe you can turn it on and see if there's a rabbit hole and maybe pop in. Like I told you, the Zoom numbers are always the same. So the nights that are our rabbit hole, maybe you can pop in without invitation, without the spotlight. Let more than one person pick your mind. That would be pretty cool. The other thing I would like to maybe get from you before you go is I do this crazy thing, the soundbite, which is basically it's your advertisement for this episode, your show. Basically, what I'd like to get from you is, hey, this is BrownGuy420. This is I'm on fucking Talkin Shit with Eagle, episode 302. You can embellish, do with it whatever you want, but it will be your advertisement for this episode. So whenever you're ready, I am recording this little hunk. Please.
all right. Well, I'll tell you right now, I'm very humbled. I'm very honored to be able to be on your show, man. I'm also very humbled and very thankful for everyone who's ever followed me and continues to follow me. Uh, you guys are what's given me a name in the industry and help in my drive to do what I do. So, if you're not on any of my social media, it's BrownGuy4200 on Instagram, Paul Rosas on YouTube. And if you guys are interested in any products, I'm constantly trying to put stuff on my page at solocbd.org. Like I said, once again, thank you so much, man. I'm honored that you know, came up and asked me to be on your show, and I'd be honored to be back on it again. I would love to do Q&A with people. Um, the the difference between me doing my show and the difference between me being on a show with someone like you is that you guys ask things I would never think about just talking about on my show. So these are, doing these shows are golden.
Right on, right on. Maybe maybe that is just a possibility. Maybe next time we'll do just a solid Q&A, and maybe we'll just kind of chat and let the chat go wild and see what they have questions for you. That'd be an awesome second round.
A lot of people are going to want a Q&A and ask about growing. A lot of people want to know how, I got root aphids. How do I get rid of them? Or spider mites. What's an organic way of getting rid of them? Got any tips on getting better veg growth or bloom development? So like I said, these shows are crazy. They can go so far, like you call it, the rabbit hole. That rabbit hole can get deep, with people asking questions.
They're saying in chat, please don't be a stranger.
Oh no!
Please don't be a stranger.
I'm doing my best to get back into the whole YouTube live interview type stuff and all that. The one thing that I did let fall off is the social media. The easiest one to keep going was my Instagram, but I am trying to get the YouTube back and going. I just had to put a lot of focus in my direction in the industry, and now that I have it, I'm starting to level out, and this is definitely what I want to be back into and be doing, and I most definitely won't be a stranger to everybody.
Nice. Well, thanks again for sharing some time with us. I know we both know time's very precious, and especially when you're putting in 110 on your dream. So I greatly appreciate you taking this time to hang out. And I know the next step is getting home and taking care of the family. So I'm going to let you go, and so you can get to the next most important step of the evening, by the way. You can get to that. So thanks again for making this time, and I am greatly looking forward to doing this again. This went better than expected. So thank you very much, and wow, thanks. Just thanks, brother.
Well, right back at you, man. Thank you so much for getting a hold of me. I know that sometimes it's hard to get a hold of me. I get so caught up with doing work, but it's been a pleasure. And thank you to everybody who's tuned in and watching, and keep tuning into this show, because I'll probably take advantage of that rabbit hole when I'm packing up and I'm wrapping up the job. I'll jump in and we can do live Q&As and stuff.
Oh, that would be amazing. Everybody's already, when you brought it up, they were like, I can't wait for that episode.
Yep. If I can't get to it all the time, but I've always told people that if you have a problem, and I know that sometimes you're having a garden and you need to figure out a situation and do it organically, and you just can't figure out the answer. You can always get a hold of me. The best way is on my Instagram, BrownGuy420. Send me a direct message. I tend to get to those the fastest, and I'll answer it, because I know sometimes time is of the essence, and maybe waiting for the next show would be too late, and it could be a crop devastator, and you lose all your time and effort on your plants. So if you have dying questions, you can always get a hold of me on there, and I try to answer to everybody.
Right on. That's another reason that makes you awesome, brother. It really is. So, yeah, I can't thank you enough. I'm very much looking forward to the next time. Drive safely, my friend, and till then, thanks again, man. I'm gonna go ahead and wind it up. Tell everybody to stay safe, but thanks again, brother. Looking forward to it, man.
All right, guys. Well, this is BrownGuy420, Paul Rosas. I'm out of here. Peace.
What an amazing episode, guys. I know you guys enjoyed this one and are looking forward to part 2 as much as I am. So look forward to that, as I will be. You guys know the routine pretty much at this point. If you guys want to come hang out here in the rabbit hole, give me a few minutes and we'll fire this up and have some fun. Who knows? We'll be in the rabbit hole. You never know. You never know who will pop into the rabbit hole. That's the beauty of it. Sometimes just me. Sometimes it's a whole bunch of people. So if not, I can respect that. Thank you for hanging out to this point. You know, I'm very grateful for any time I get. So you guys know the deal. If you're not coming to the rabbit hole, thank you so much. Pretty please do something nice for somebody. Random acts of kindness do save lives. I'm a living, breathing example of that. So with that being said, thanks again for hanging out. Hopefully you'll come and join in the rabbit hole in about 20 minutes at the latest. 2 o'clock I'll be back at the latest. Thanks again. You guys have a great night. I am out of here. But hopefully I will see you in the rabbit hole. Thanks again.